Welcome everybody, Shir number 944. We're learning today Le'iloi Nishmas Moshe Doiv Ben Rabban Zizel, Le'iloi Nishmas Blima Bas Rab Moshe, and Le'Refuah Shalema Freda Golda Bas Esther, Shtakav Refuah Shalema B'Soich Sharchol Yisrael. Getting back to a malacha of MAKEH B'PATISH. Okay, so we basically went through the various different gezeres midrabanan, rabbinical restrictions in reference to MAKEH B'PATISH and Tekemana. Just real quickly to chazed them over. We had number one was the inyanim of musical instruments, making various different sounds. We spoke about that. We spoke about tfilas kalim, the isser of toivling kalim on Shabbos. We just got finished recently separating challah, the isser of separating challah on Shabbos. We spoke about that. Swimming on Shabbos was another one of the gezeres midrabanan, and the last one before we get to the last of the last, but the last one that we spoke about also was, not the last, we didn't actually speak about it last, but we spoke about infusing scent into garments or into objects, making a nice smell, spraying these various different type of good smelling things onto clothing and so on. Okay, the last one which we have to talk about, which is very negei l'maisa, and that is folding linens and garments. Very simply put, everybody knows when you fold your talis on, I shouldn't say everybody knows, but it's a well-known thing when you fold your talis on Shabbos. Right, a person takes their talis off, coming home from shul, so you fold it. Most people fold it backwards. They fold it backwards, not on the line. They fold it inside out, and so on. Not to fold it on the line the regular way from that, how people usually do it during the week. It's a known thing. There are those who also just, I don't want to say the word crumple it up, but just roll it up and just put it into the stender or so on. But we want to see what is the reason for that. Why do people do that, and what is that all about? The other thing is a person, before they go to sleep, they'll take off their pants. And the pants, as we know, in general, a suit pants has a crease in it. A line going down the front, going down the back. So the question is, could I hang my pants back up on the suit hanger, on the line, whereby it's folded from the cleaning store, right? It came back with a line, and I want to keep it nice and neat so that it doesn't get all wrinkled up. So I'll just fold it back up on the crease and put it on the hanger with my jacket so nicely until tomorrow morning when I go back to shul. So is one allowed to do that or not? Now, we also want to see, what about folding paper? We've spoken about in the past in reference to folding paper, making items out of it, like making an airplane, making a bird, various different type of shapes and so on. People can make out of paper even without cutting the paper. We said that was not allowed. But what about just folding paper on the line itself? Is that a problem? Is there an issue with that? So the question is, what is this all about? What is this issue all about of folding items on the line and putting it away nicely and neatly? What's the problem? So in general, we're going to see that there are five conditions. There are five conditions that have to be met, whereby one would be allowed to fold a garment in general. But if you're missing those five conditions, or one of the five conditions, in general, it falls into the category in general. We're going to see one of them is hachana, preparation for during the week. But in general, the prohibition is tikkun mana, ke'ein tikkun mana, MAKEH B'PATISH. In other words, it looks like somebody is fixing it up. In other words, like this: when I take my talis and a person takes off their talis, now, right, it has to be folded up. When you fold it up on the line, you make it nice and sharp. You fold it up nicely and putting it away. It's a little bit of it looks as though one is sort of. It's not a derisa. It's not a derisa, of course, of fixing an item on Shabbos, but it looks like somebody is making it nice, tight, and neat, sort of falling into the category of a drabanan of tikkun mana. The same thing with one's pants, folding it on the line. It's ke'ein. It's similar to something that's being fixed. Okay, but we're going to see that there are five conditions, that if all five conditions are met, in general, it's hard to meet all five conditions, but we'll go through them. We'll see the reasons why, and that we'll get a better understanding as to what this halacha is all about. When the five conditions are met, then it is allowed. So starts off the mechaber in Siman Shin Beis. In general, Siman Shin Beis talks about the halachas of stains, stains, we've spoken all about that, the halachas of the malacha of malabin, one of the lamites malachas malabin, and one of the sifim over there in the Siman Shin Beis, Sif Gimel, talks about these, since it's talking about clothing, it's also talks about over here in reference to folding various different type of clothing, so or garments in general. Says the Mechaber like this: Makaplim Kalim b'Shabbos, one will be allowed to fold kalim meaning clothing and so on Shabbos, l'tzarech Shabbos. So now that before we go further, the l'tzarech Shabbos is condition number one. We're going to see the 5 conditions. Condition number 1, l'tzarech Shabbos, l'lov shoy boy b'yoyim, in order to wear it. What one of the conditions a person has to do, if in order to fold a garment the right way, we're going to see if it could be folded backwards. Is that allowed to be done? Right? Could I fold my tallis backwards? How do we work that? But the condition number 1, to fold it on the line the right way, it has to be for the same day. In other words, then I'm going to wear it again on Shabbos. In general, most people don't wear their tallis again on Shabbos once they take it off from Shacharis, so that is not going to fall into condition number 1. In general, a tallis does not have condition number 1, whereby it's for the upcoming week. And that Isser is not actually an Isser of Tikkun Mana, or not Tikkun or MAKEH B'PATISH, but tells us the Mishnah Berurah that will be the problem of hachana l'choil, preparing for during the weekday. Because if you do an action, a person does a regular action on Shabbos, and it is for the week, or it's even for next Shabbos, which we're going to see, right? I fold it up nicely for next Shabbos, so that is called hachana l'choil, or even for the next Shabbos, and that is not allowed to be done. Preparing something on Shabbos for during the week, even for next Shabbos, which we'll talk about, is not allowed to be done. Okay, just to end off with the Mishnah Berurah over there, Mishnah Berurah says like this, very simply in Sifkat and Yud Beis, the Tzarech Shabbos, the im ein mekaplim regilim shemiskamtim. Why is one folding it up? Because otherwise it's going to get wrinkled. Why does anybody fold their clothing? Because it shouldn't get wrinkled. Okay, so tells us the Mishnah Berurah in reference to the tallis, which we just spoke about, condition number 1, that it has to be for the same day, for the same Shabbos, says the Mishnah Berurah, it's if Katan Yud Gimel v'lochen is also lekapel hatalis. Therefore, that condition is for anything, for pants, whatever the case is, whatever a person is folding. It applies to many actions on Shabbos, but the condition number 1 of that has to be for the same day is not the Tikkun, not the MAKEH B'PATISH part. It's for the hachana, the preparation for during the week. So says the Mishnah Berurah, v'lochen is also lekapel hatalis. Therefore, one is not allowed to fold their talis. Afal pisha mitzvah tzitzis kol hayom. Even though, one second, we know that it's a mitzvah. There is a mitzvah to wear tzitzis the whole day, or even if somebody wears a talis all day, it could be done. V'yachal esatef bo, you could take it out in 2 hours and put it on again. So it says the Mishnah Berurah, mikol makom keven she'ein b'daita l'satef bo is also, since the average person is not taking out their talis after shacharis, after they put it away, they're not taking it out to wear again. Therefore, it is not allowed, and it comes out it's being done for during the week or even for next Shabbos. It's mashma from the Mishnah Berurah. Says the Mishnah Berurah further, there would be one case possibly imloi b'makam. In other words, whereby this condition would be met. Imloi b'makam shenagu l'satev b'talisis b'mincha, unless you live in such a place whereby they put on talesim for mincha. So, if somebody lives in that place, the first condition could be met, but again, you need 4 more conditions, which we will see. Okay, so just to sum up today, condition number 1 for folding clothing, it has to be for the same Shabbos. And when we say the same Shabbos, by the way, it could be day to night is the same Shabbos. In other words, let's say somebody folds their pants. That doesn't mean the pants is mutter to fold. It's still not allowed. We're going to see there's 4 more conditions. But that one part of it, somebody folds their pants, it is being done for the next morning. That is not hachana. If somebody prepares something, let's say somebody does an action Friday night for Shabbos by day, so that is not considered preparations for the week. That's preparations for the same day Shabbos. So any action in general, if it's an action that's allowed to be done and the only problem is preparation for the week, such an action is allowed. But in this case, we'll see it's not allowed for various different reasons. Thank you for listening. Atzlach and bracha kol tov.